Hi, my amazing planner people. It's Jess from my magical planner. And as you can see, today I'm going to be working on my June dashboard page. Now, in doing this, I have pulled out this bow strung box sampler from the Giving Girl. This was one of the pages I had picked out in my kit lineup that I wanted to try and use up this month. So I used this as my jumping off point, and I went ahead and pulled out these florals that I thought would go really nicely with it. These are from Letters to Apollo, and we're going to go ahead and get into the whole planning here. All of these were coordinating things from Letters to Apollo, and I did pull out my Harriet Wright Designs script there. While I'm putting that down, I'm just going to put a little disclaimer with this video. So I did record this actually walking you guys through everything last night, but somehow something went wrong with the audio, and so when I imported it, there was no audio. So if things don't look like they're matching up with my hand movements, that's why. All right, so I went ahead and I used one of those little paint swash type deals at the top and then overlaid the June on top of it just to kind of give it some emphasis. I thought about putting some florals up there, but decided that didn't really go well. I wanted to just kind of leave it as is. So the other thing I really wanted to incorporate into this is these long kiss cut trims from Letters to Apollo. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. Now they are a little tricky to pull up because some of the flowers do kind of go off on their own shoot, and if you're not careful, you could very easily just rip right through one. So just be mindful of that if you're using these. And I think they look amazing. These are on the transparent mat, which I've been contemplating back and forth. Do I like it? Do I not like it? And I think this kind of pushed me over the edge so that I'm in love with them now. Like, I kind of liked them before, but after doing this, I'm absolutely in love with them. I think they're amazing. I think the matte stickers have their place too. It's just depending on how you're using them. And for this particular spread, I think they worked really well. Now, I did pull out one of these paper doll girls. These are from Paper Dolls Co. They'll be linked down below. All of the shops will. And I thought she was really nice, and I liked the way that she drew your eye over to the side, and I thought the pop of red was kind of also nice. So now I'm like, I want to use these little pieces here, and I was trying to figure out, well, how can I use them? And at first I was like, oh, I'll just line them up along the one side. And then as I took the second one off, I realized that I could make a corner out of it, and it looked amazing. I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And so I made the little corner there, and that allowed me to kind of play around a little bit more with the florals. I'm going ahead and putting in my decorative boxes here. It's kind of a one part at a time type deal for me, where I'm slowly incorporating other elements. It's kind of how my brain works. Everybody's a little different. When I put it down, I was a little afraid that any kind of text would kind of get lost in the checkered pattern on the back. So this is me flipping through to try and find another box that was just a plain like white box that I could layer on top of it. Now I did find these ones from the Pretty Pink Co., but as you can see, they're pretty much the same size. So what I ended up doing is pulling out this, leftover sticker sheet, and I'm going to trim off all of that silver on the outside because I don't really need that, and if I'm going to cut it down, it would just look weird. So I went ahead and removed that, and then I'm going to go ahead and trim down the actual size of the sticker so it's a little bit smaller, and you really get that gingham as kind of the frame around it, which I really liked. I wish I had more midi boxes because I think that would have been a lot easier for me with all of this, but it's on my wish list for this next month. I then layered on some more florals to kind of give some balance there. You'll see that as things go on, I'm going to come back in quite a bit and add florals here and there, kind of to do this balancing act and to connect things together. Now I'm using one of the square boxes and just kind of overlaying some of that floral on top of it to kind of incorporate it a little bit closer. I feel like it makes everything a little bit more connected. This is me again going through that book going, do I have any squares I can cut down? I didn't see any that I wanted to cut down off the first run through. So I went ahead and I pulled out these circles, and I was like, maybe I'll use these circles. And then I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll use this, because I was laying there and I was like, oh, I like it, but it didn't really have the right flow for this particular spread. So I scrapped that idea. However, I knew I wanted a big butterfly, and I didn't have a full big butterfly. What I did have are these half butterflies from Sticker Guru. So I just lined them up together to make a full butterfly, and I love it. I think it's amazing. I love how big it is and how it really draws your eye to that side of the paper. I then put on one of the heart boxes. These are the hardest ones for me to use. So I wanted to challenge myself and make sure I was at least incorporating one. And then here I'm like, well, I'll cut down some florals and we'll use them right here. And then I was like, oh, I'm not sure I like that. Let me move it over here to the heart. And that actually worked better in my mind. So I like the way that those two came together. And then I'm just going to kind of play around with some other florals, trying to connect some boxes there. And then I decided I wanted to use another one of those big trims and just kind of lay it against the outer edge to kind of give yourself a boundary. At least that was my thought, is that my eye would hit there and then bounce back because I knew that was the end, if that makes sense. That's how my brain works. I don't know if that's an actual like design element or anything like that. So it's just the way I decorate. Just for clarification's sakes. None of these are like rules or anything. It's just when I'm looking at something, this is what my brain does. I then wanted to kind of fill in that upper corner, and I decided to use another one of those butterflies, but a full butterfly wouldn't really fit, so I used the half just on its own and overlaid a little bit of floral to make it look like it was maybe flying off or its wings are folded up or something of that nature. Now I'm adding on another square box. I did contemplate this because I don't like having two of the same shape kind of in a row with each other, but I decided in this instance with the floral elements it would be broken up enough that it would be okay. Now I liked that corner element up at the top so much that I wanted to make a second corner, and my first thought was to do this corner, but as I pulled off the second one it didn't feel right, so I moved it over to the opposite corner, which would then balance out the top a little bit better. So I like that a lot, but I still wanted to add more floral on this side, so I'm going back in and picking some of the bigger florals to then put on this side to kind of balance things out a little bit. And now I'm going back in going, can I put another butterfly in without it, overpowering everything? And I decided not. Instead, I'm putting in another one of those kind of rectangular boxes there at the bottom. And I think the amount of boxes and the way that they came together is really nice. I did feel that that one spot at the bottom needed another box, but I'm sitting here contemplating what size and everything. So I did end up going with a square, but when I went to put it in, I realized it was too long for the space that I wanted. And I felt like if I pulled it up, I was going to crowd things. So I just cut off the bottom of it and put it down here. Now, as I was putting it down, I was like, okay, I don't know that I cut this perfectly straight. So my fix for that is to kind of overlay some florals that'll kind of distract your eye from that element. And I'm also layering in some florals between the two boxes to, again, connect them and kind of take up some of that white space. It did take me a little bit to find the florals that I wanted in particular spots because the shape of the floral really affects the feel of the box and the flow of it. These are the smaller half butterflies. These are also from Sticker Guru. And if you guys don't know, I am on their PR team. So there is a discount code down in my description there if you go and look for it, as well as an affiliate link. I just get points for buying kits from them and that kind of thing from any of your purchases if you use that link. So anyhow, I truly love these butterflies. I think they're amazing. Kind of wish I had picked up more, but I know that I can get more, or there will be something else that I'm going to love just as much, and it's okay. I do really love their foiled Tuesdays, and they usually run from like Tuesday to Thursday, so you have time to think about it, which is nice. Anyhow, going back in here, I'm just layering on the other side of that butterfly because I did decide that I did want a full butterfly there, because with the two halves, I just felt like it didn't go very well. Now there was a jump here. The camera had turned off and I didn't realize it turned off. So this is me putting in some icons because I like to put something there to kind of represent each category. So since this big sidebar is my kind of home category, I went ahead and put one of their houses. I love these, especially for my dashboards. I just think they're so nice. Then I'm going through, so I have a whole book of white deer stationery icons, and I'm flipping through trying to find the right one for here. And I finally decided on this book with a cup of coffee, because this is going to be my study kind of group. What are the things I want to learn about this month? These are things that help me improve me, and I will fill this in with you guys at the end so you'll get to see what those things are. Now, this is me contemplating what I want to put up there as my icon for self-care or health. I'm kind of lumping those two together because for me, they are really close. And I did end up on this pair of pajamas because, all right, guys, the last 2-3 nights I've barely slept at all. My stress level is so high that I can't relax enough to go to sleep, which is a common problem I have. And so one night I didn't go to sleep until 6 a.m. and then I slept for a couple of hours, and then last night I think I was around 3 a.m. and I slept until 10 this morning, which was actually really good, and I'm happy I got some sleep because it makes life just a little easier. But having that be such a big part, we'll go into it more at the end. And then for my final box there, I did decide on kind of a cup of tea, and I put the florals at the bottom, and it just, I don't know, I really like the aesthetic of it. Now I'm just going in and putting in some more florals, and I decided I really wanted to use one of these Panda Bird Design circles. I think they're amazing. These were actually oopses, and I have no idea why, but I am so grateful to have been able to get them. And then I just overlaid a larger floral because I felt like it really went up there. I'm going to try and figure out what of these boxes can I use over here. What shapes do I really like? And I decided I didn't like the look of the heart. I want to add in more of the circles because I want to have that balance, but there wasn't really enough room at the top to do another one, and I wanted a big label for the box. So I went ahead and used one of these pretty pinko boxes and then just put a little bit of floral in the corner. Now moving down to that one I'm going to call self-care, and I decided I kind of wanted my label to be centered at the bottom because I don't like having them all in the same place. It's just me. I'm weird like that. I did decide that I definitely wanted to add more of these special boxes from the Giving Girl. So I'm adding in one there and then kind of contemplating a couple of other things. I liked putting the floral between the two to kind of connect. I also knew that I wanted to pull in at least one more of these circles, and I decided I was going to do that at the bottom, but before I could put it in, I needed that label to be in there. And so this is just me finding out the right space to make sure I can incorporate that circle element, and then adding some floral to kind of, again, connect those boxes a little better and adding some to the corners. Now we're going to go down to the bottom. This is the area that I generally do things for my family. I did contemplate some of these torn paper elements because I really do like them. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just overlay these kind of transparent things. But I felt like they didn't give enough emphasis. I do like this one I put down here in the corner. I am going to use that, but I am going to overlay another circle on top of it, which did take me a few minutes to find. This is how I organize a lot of my stickers. Don't worry, at some point I really am going to get you guys a sticker organization video. I just finished reorganizing them again. Anyhow, So in here, we have more of those panda bird circles, but really what I wanted was just a simple circle, which is what I have here from Sadie Stickers. And it has that general ruffled edge like the panda bird design ones, so I felt like it really incorporated things very well. I didn't do the panda bird design ones because I didn't want to layer that many transparent elements on top of each other. So I was still trying to go like, can I use some of these other elements? And I wasn't sure. So I went ahead and pulled in one of the rectangular boxes here. You'll see like I had some issues with how low it was. So I'm going to go back and kind of try and tuck it up more underneath those florals because I think that works really well. I did decide to pull out some of these little swatches and stuff and incorporate them higher up. And I also really liked putting that little swatch in the corner because I think that really filled out the space nicely. Now I'm going back to that box in the middle. I decided that the easiest way to get it up far enough for me was actually to cut some of that trim, and I'm tucking parts of it underneath and having some of it in front. So it kind of gives a more 3D feel and it makes it more cohesive, I think. And plus it got the box into the area I really wanted it to be. I'm going ahead and pulling in another one of these rectangular boxes that are from the Pretty Pink Co. These are just very simple white boxes, which are always a good idea. And next, I'm looking over the shapes and going, I don't know what I want in this other area. I need something a little different. I don't want it to be too repetitive. I did go ahead and add one of the matte stickers here because I was running low on the transparent ones. So I just used that to kind of, there was a little bit of an angle of my sticker there, and the floral helps kind of hide that a little bit and make it look better. I did add in another one of the square boxes here, and now I'm going back and kind of contemplating what other kinds of boxes can I pull in. And I thought about pulling in another one of the panda bird ones, but it felt like there really wasn't the right amount of room to make that look appealing to me. So I decided to go ahead and pull out my leftover sticker book. Now I have two different leftover sticker books. This is the one where I put all of my boxes. And I don't always put them all together because if I have all of a kit all together, then I tend to want to keep that kit together. And sometimes I need to think outside of the box. And so sometimes you'll see things just kind of randomly in here. Some kits are kind of together, other ones are not. It just depends because some of them I've pulled off to try and incorporate into something and some of them I haven't. So this is just me going through and going, oh, this is a purple sticker. It's the right foil color. Can I incorporate that into this spread? And anyone that I thought might work well, I went ahead and pulled off. I'd like to apologize for my voice. It is going in and out just a little bit. I did have COVID a couple weeks ago. That's why I missed a bunch of videos, and I still have some of the remnants of that going on. Now, I did contemplate these ones, but decided that I would rather keep them all together and use them in one spread. And I didn't feel like I had enough room, or that they wouldn't go as well with this particular spread. So just going through a bunch of these other stickers. A lot of these can be used in your Hobonichi cousin, or you can make leftover spreads, which are really fun actually, because it kind of makes you think outside of the box. I'm pointing out that I love those little boxes with the kind of fancy trim around the edge. I just ordered a bunch from Paper Trail Plans, and I cannot wait for them to come in because they are so, so pretty. Okay. So I did get to this leftovers of kit. This is leftovers from the school kit that Two Little Bees did. And I realized that they had the purple plus the florals matched perfectly with this florals. So I went ahead and I put that box down there because it was a different shape and I thought it was really nice. And then my other thing was I was looking at the heart going, you know, I can overlay this and then it's easier for me to write on. So I went ahead and did that. But then it made me go, I want to incorporate a few more touches of this particular color because it was slightly different than the other color. So that's where these other boxes come in. So I did contemplate putting that one up there, but decided in the end that I didn't like the way that that was looking. even if I tucked it under the florals, I wasn't happy with it. Like I put it down here. Luckily it's on top of those transparent mats, so it's super easy to pull up. And in the end, what I did is I just overlaid it over this box. So you have both elements there. Then I'm going to go ahead and trim down this square box so that I have a smaller square that I can use in the middle of a square, which is always really hard for me. Like I want to say that I'm doing it the right way, and then sometimes it just doesn't work. And I think the problem I was having here is I had the foil at the top and it really needed to be at the bottom because then it balances out that bow at the top. So that's why I ended up down there. And then I wanted to incorporate this circle, but I was like, where do I put it? And finally I ended up on that middle box. I think that looked really well. And now I'm just going back in and seeing about the other things that I had pulled off here and using up the last of the florals that I had. I am pulling in some more of the matte florals because I did run out of those transparent ones. And I think it really, really pulled everything together. It's just a lot of fun. I love filling in with florals. So I also pulled in a couple more butterflies because who doesn't need more butterflies? And these ones are so incredibly cute. I'm glad that I can put them together to make a full butterfly and that they don't look weird. So now I'm like, what else do I need to do? I want to fill in some of the white space. And then my husband texted me. He was like, hey, it's like 1 a.m. Are you coming to bed? And I was like, but I'm doing something. I do end up kind of filling in these butterflies, which these are from Letters to Apollo. They're kind of dangle butterflies. And I'm not the best with dangle deco. I'm working on it and kind of playing around with it a little bit more. But it does take me a little bit more time to figure out where to put these than I think it would somebody who's really comfortable with dangle deco. I do like the end product and how it turned out. A lot of it for me is trying to make sure that I have groupings of 3 or 5 of these, because otherwise to me it looks off. I think that's a holdover from my photography days where you just want an odd number of things in a grouping because it just is more appealing. So I'm going ahead and just kind of putting in various spots, and kind of, I don't want them to be on the same level, because if you have 2 butterflies next to each other, the exception being that one that I just put down, which I did leave at the same level because they're different size butterflies. But for the most part, it just doesn't look right. Some of these I did have to trim to make shorter so that I could make that happen. But overall, I really, really like the way that this turned out. I'm just realizing oh no, I have 5 at the bottom. I'm looking at the layout right now and I'm going, oh no, did I leave 4 in the bottom? Am I going to have to go back in and fix that? But no, there's 5 down there. And then I'm just doing a couple in these other boxes. And because of the lateness of the night, I think I do end up just going, okay, I'm going to stop here and we're going to call this good and it's going to be fine. So anyhow, I really liked how everything came together. I think this is me counting up butterflies and being like, okay, here's my grouping of 3, here's my grouping of 3. And then I'm going to go back in, and because I've used these really detailed butterflies, I'm pulling out detailed butterflies that are either clusters, so these have little dots around them, or I'm going to pull in the ones next to it, which are just solid butterflies, to kind of add a little bit more to the spread. And I think overall, and maybe it's just my butterfly obsession, but I really loved having all of them in and feeling like they're not overcrowding each other. So yes, you can see that I've almost used up this full sheet from Letters to Apollo. Luckily, this was on her Bring Back the Favorites, so I was able to order it a second time, and I still have a full sheet, so hopefully it'll last me the whole summer. We'll see. But I do have a lot of other butterfly elements, so maybe I'm okay. Do you guys have one like particular deco that you just absolutely adore? Anyhow, here's me in the morning coming back and being like, okay, it's time to fill everything out. and stuff. So let's get into that. So I always start at the top of my page. So the first one we had there was that learning education, and I'm actually putting study down here. It's more of an action word, so I feel like maybe it'll help me be more motivated, and I'm just kind of playing around with the lettering around there. So the first thing that I want to do this month is I want to read a book a week, which is totally doable. I have Audible. Thank you, Audible. And not sponsored, by the way. But if Audible wanted to sponsor me, I wouldn't be opposed. Anyhow, I went ahead and put down a book a week, and then at the top, I looked up how to write vagus nerve because I was sure I was going to misspell it. So I just kind of looked it up, and I want to learn more about the vagus nerve this month because there's a lot of stuff that crosses over from the vagus nerve and stress and your fight and flight stuff, and there are ways to calm it down, and I thought I would try some of those this month, but I want to read up more on it first. Then we have our second box, which is kind of my self-care box here, and I have a couple of things that I've been working on. Like I did sign up to do a virtual 5K with Disney, fingers crossed that goes well. And then I also have a couple of hobbies that have kind of fallen by the wayside, one of them being my photography. And so I was trying to figure out, how do I mark this? And in the end, I was like, I think I have some icons that are cameras, so I'm going to pull that in. And then above it, I do go ahead and write big camera because I do have a more expensive camera that was kind of left over from my portrait photography type days. And I just want to get it back out and start playing with it again. Making the time to do that, I think will be great for me. And then on the other side here, along with those pajamas, I want to start working on like a better routine for bedtime. You know, it feels wrong as an adult to say I need to set myself a bedtime, so we're just going to say routine. And then that final box I'm putting as friendship. Now, life gets so busy for me that I have to make a conscious effort to maintain friendships. Not because I don't love those people, it's just I get so caught up in the day-to-day stuff that I forget that I need to do stuff. So I'm putting down here some reminders. Me and my friend Stephanie are going to try going walking every week, which I think will be good in many aspects. I'm going to try and do breakfast with my friend Denise, who owns a greenhouse. So she has very short periods of time. So I'll show up with a bagel and we'll have like a 15-minute breakfast together. And then I want to do lunch with my friend Carol. Down at the bottom here, this is where I do my things for my family. Like, what do they really need from me this month? For my husband, I put down help with his office. So we're getting new carpet in our house this month, and his office is rather cluttered. He would like to declutter some of that, and the more we can do that type of thing before the carpet comes in, the easier the install is going to be. It will be a full week, so fair warning, I don't know if I'm going to get any videos out that week, so just know that. And then I'm going back in here and I put Emily, who is my youngest. Really what she needs is some one-on-one time, and Daniel, my second to oldest. I feel also that he kind of gets missed in the shuffle sometimes because I'm concentrating on the other kids so much that he gets overlooked because he's one of those really good kids. I mean, they're all really good kids, but he doesn't have any particular needs right now, so it's easy to overlook him, if that makes sense. Then I went ahead and put Ethan down. We need to look more into college info and figure out a plan and kind of look at his options. And then for Megan, I just put that we need to continue doing our workouts. All right, now for the home section. Up here, I went ahead and wrote home at that top one. I incorporated this declutter sticker because that's going to be such a crucial point for this month with the new carpet coming in. The more stuff that we can get out before that comes in is the less stuff we have to move, since we are getting new carpet in the entire house. Yes, it's a big deal. My carpet is over 25 years old. I'm so excited to get new carpet, but at the same time, I'm incredibly nervous. I'm like, what if I picked the wrong color? Anyhow, down here at the bottom, I'm putting wash windows. I want to get a squeegee because I think that's going to make it a lot easier. We have a lot of windows in the house, and try and clean those up. I want to make sure the curtains get washed this month. I think that's like, it's a good time. I can wash them, maybe set them outside to dry and get some nice fresh air in them. And we have a DVD organization thing that we need to do. All right, that's all I have for today. Do all the YouTube things, the likes, the subscribes, and all of that. And until next time, I'll see you guys real soon.